hope everyone is enjoying Gratitude Week. That's what I'm calling this week as we focus on being grateful. And each and every day we're encouraged and challenged to write down one thing we're grateful about in our life, one thing we're grateful about in our spiritual life, and then one thing we're grateful about regarding this church. And so this is a practice I've enjoyed doing, and it really does help us be free from things like fear and anxiety, but also be free for just serving God more faithfully and growing in our faith and sharing the good news with others. Gratitude helps us in so many ways. And so encourage you to continue these practices this week and see how it forms us to be more faithful disciples of Christ. This coming Sunday, we're going to be spending time with Philippians 3. And there's an interesting part of this chapter where Paul talks about kind of the stuff he's proud about, all the good stuff really in his history, his background, that he considers all of these gains, all of these good things loss, so that he can gain Christ and know Christ. He actually says, I consider them garbage, which actually is a nice way to translate what actually is being said here. The word actually is, I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this, excrement or manure. That's what Paul considers all these good things. And so as we think about passages like Philippians 2, which we'll get to later on in this study, features Christ and shows how he empties himself for the sake of others. And Paul challenges us to have that same mindset in our relationships with each other and as we go through life. And so how can we do the work of emptying ourselves of the good stuff so that we can gain Christ? I think we all admit we need to get rid of the bad stuff. But it really is challenging in this chapter to think about how can we get rid of the good stuff, empty ourselves of those good things. I mean, Christ emptied himself, gave up equality with God, which is, the best thing you could have for the sake of others. So how can we do that? How can we model that for others? And how can we continue to grow in this effort? Because, as Paul says later in Philippians 3, we're citizens of heaven. And as we finish up our time here, I want to challenge us to think about a question as we get ready for Sunday. To become a citizen of this country in America, there's a test that you take. You really have to demonstrate knowledge of our government and our history. But I want us to think about, if we could pick one thing we want people to know about what it means to be a citizen of heaven, what would we choose? What's the one attribute, the one thing, the one practice, the one characteristic, whatever it is, what's the one thing that we would want people to know about what it means to be a citizen of heaven? We'll talk more about this on Sunday. See you then.